month, I am rereading some of my favorites from 2023 and 2024, and I am going to share that list with you. Now, at this current time, I have physicals of all of these books. I did not when I read them, and so some of them I'm going to go back and annotate while I read, and I'm really excited about that. But let's get into the list, and as I tell you what book it is, I'm going to tell you why I want to reread that book specifically. First up is Written in the Stars by Sky Moon. I absolutely loved this book when I read it. It is a small town sports romance where these characters meet through mutual friends. The male main character has this scandal going on, so he needs to take it away. I just loved Asher and Kira's story. It was really cute. We love a stepdaddy over here, and it just really gives me all the feels. And I honestly have not read it since the first time that I read it. And you see I bought the special edition. Are there pages colored in here? I don't know. I'm really bad about cracking open my special editions, especially if they're hardbacks, because I don't want to hear like the little spine thing. But whatever. So book number one. Actually, not number one, because they're not really going to go in any order, but whatever. Second up is Compulsive. I have actually read this. No, I've not reread it in its entirety. There is a particular scene in this book that I love, and it gets me out of a slump every time, so I'll go back and read that. But I have started to annotate the paperback, but I'm actually going to read it through in its entirety and annotate it when I get to it, because again, I'm not going in any order. But I love this story. It is friends to lovers. They meet on New Year's. He ends up getting shot trying to protect her because they were like chit-chatting or whatever, and somebody starts shooting the club. But it's another friends to lovers, and I'm really funky about friends to lovers. It's crazy that so many of these end up being friends to lovers. But yeah, that's Compulsive. Next is Come Through by Aubrey Penn. This is a nanny romance. Y'all, I don't even remember. I think it's a nanny romance. No, don't remember. And that's the sad part. But I know I loved Geo. I know that. And it's been a hot minute. I read this when it came out. Dude, I ain't never looked in this book, apparently, because look at this. Full page. And that's a trigger warning page. But yeah, so I am going to reread this because one, I need to remember what it was about. But I know that I loved Geo, and I know that like he was heavy in the streets, but he was always soft with serenity. So I remember some things, just not everything. Next is Beyond Measures. This was the very first Kimberly Brown book I bought, and if you look at the cover, you can see why. But I absolutely remember bits and pieces of this book. I read it again like years ago, almost 3 years ago now, and I want to reread it. I want to annotate it. I'm very excited to get into this book. We're gonna see what happens with that. Next up is Right as Rain by J.B. Vample. This was the first book that I bought based off of a TikTok recommendation. I have read this book twice in its entirety, but I want to read it again because I love the story. I love Rain. I love Christopher. One thing I don't love though is Marcy, and every time I read it I just get mad all over again and just really feel like they made it through a lot of this book and they should have beat Marcy up sooner because she was a hater, and I mean like a pure D hater too. Like Gray, a horrible friend. They shouldn't have called her their friend, all the things. So I definitely want to reread Right as Rain. Parachutes by Harley Ray. Y'all, this book, loved it down. All I remember is she had lupus. The doctor, did she have lupus? I think it was lupus. Pretty sure it's lupus. Bad. She meets the doctor. They do their little thing or whatever, and he is like literally trying to get her to just let him love her, and she is being hard-headed and like trying to deal with her illness and not really have to deal with him. All the things. As you can see, I started annotating this book. Don't know which read through this was, but I know for sure that I have not read this whole book since the very first time I read it, and it was one of the ones I read early in 2023. I think, pretty sure. Let's double check that. Yeah, read it early in 2023. Very excited to read it again and just fall back in love with the story because it's been on my favorites list for a long time for a lot of things, and I remember bones of that story. So I definitely read it again. And last but not least is The Mixtape by Brittany Cherry. I read this book a while ago, 2023, 2024. Fell in love with Brittany's pen, fell in love with this story. It is a musician romance. He's a musician. She ends up being his housekeeper. She's a single mom. She really like speaks life into him and breathes back into him because he's grieving. And it's just a really beautifully written story. I have not read it since the first time I read it. And I started annotating it when I read it the first time. But since then, my annotation style has changed. The tabs I use have changed. So I'm probably going to take these tabs out and then re-annotate it when I read it. But yeah, I'm very excited to get back into this one and really see if I, with all of these, I really want to see if I love them now as much as I did then. So through this journey, I'll be going back to my reviews of them because they're all posted on TikTok. And so like watching them back and then kind of seeing where I'm at now, especially as I'm deeper into my reading journey, I'm older, like I'm really excited to see how this goes. If you've read any of these books, let me know in the comments what you thought about them when you read them. And so we can see how we feel about them now. But yeah, I will definitely keep you guys updated and this journey will be documented. So bye for now.